Becky, what a tremendous story you have to tell. I too am passionate about literacy, and as a matter of fact, at a recent Toastmasters meeting, I gave a tribute to literacy. And I was shocked to find out in my research is that nearly 2/3 of fourth graders who are not functionally literate will end up in jail, period. So we know it by the fourth grade whether they're going to be in jail. Another shocking statistic that I found was that 60%, so nearly 2/3 of teenage girls who are functionally illiterate will become unwed mothers. And lastly, and I don't want to steal any of your thunder, but it was a little disturbing to know that being illiterate is a learned activity. If your parents are not literate, you have a significantly greater chance of becoming illiterate yourself. You had asked about your opening and how you were able to capture our attention. I felt that it was a little dry, and it took me a minute to kind of catch up with you. All right? So having a very powerful opening might grab our attention so that we are truly focused on the words that you're about to say to help us have an understanding of what it is you're going to be talking about in the immediate time, plus over the next 4 hours. Right? Because we don't have the privilege of an itinerary or any subject matter to prepare us for that. So I'm sure you will have that for your audience because by golly, they're paying for it, so they want to know what they're getting. But having something to recap, and maybe you've got some late registrants that don't have that information, but just give us a good, very solid understanding of what's going to happen over the next 4 hours. Okay? Let's see. Another thing, you were very passionate, and that was clear. However, there were times when I noticed you clenching your fists. And when we're passionate, sometimes that passion can be demonstrated in anger. And I hear you. I mean, it would piss me off royally to sit and watch teachers ignore the problem student. It was interesting in a sermon this morning, the preacher was talking about Christ going after the one lost sheep. The great thing about the 99 others that weren't lost is they're safe, they're in a good spot, and they have the ability to a large degree of teaching themselves and teaching one another. So you can get the 99 working so you have the time to focus on that one. So it's great that you pointed out that we have to ignore those biases by the pit exercise. And let's not look at the ugly on the outside, because quite frankly, all of us are pretty ugly from time to time, whether it's our physical ability, our emotions, the way we interact with those people. We're not always very beautiful on the outside, but it's that magical light within that you're really the one wanting to try to reach. And I believe that you have the ability to get your audience in and on the program with you so that they're moving forward. Another one of the things that you did well, but I think a different way of presenting it might make it more interesting. You gave us lots of vignettes and a lot of statistics. That early on started getting a little heady, and I was starting to get a little sad listening to, oh my gosh, I mean, how is it the country is even functioning? Because it doesn't seem like we're doing any job of educating. Granted, I see a bunch of educated people in the room. I'm assuming that we're all literate, and I'm assuming that we all have the ability to do math, right? And I'm not going to ask anyone to raise their hand if they're not, because I wouldn't want to embarrass anyone. So it was really hard for me to connect really with the one compared to the rest of them, right? But it's great information. What I think that would be really helpful in your presentation is to spread that out a little bit. Give us a little bit of information, some of the ugly statistics, and go along with the statistics, tell a story about something that is very related to that. Once you tell the story, then perhaps give us a tidbit of how you're going to address that particular issue later on in the seminar, right? And then later on, give us some more statistics and another little story and then relate it so that we're engaged throughout the entire time, but perhaps not so many of them. And finally, I feel like all I'm doing is criticizing, but I feel that you want to really improve this because it's going to be your livelihood, is I realize that you're probably going to have a PowerPoint presentation in the future. The cards were a little distracting for me, okay? So, but once you've got the PowerPoint presentation, you're either going to have an opportunity to kind of take a glance back, or maybe there's going to be a monitor in the front that's going to keep you on track so you can see the numbers and statistics. But if the statistics weren't so many, it might be easier to remember. But overall, I think you're on a very good level plane so that you can take this to move forward. I definitely want to know how to address those one-offs in my classroom, because those are those hidden gems that, you know, we might be here, all of us, right? We might be here, but with a little extra work, we're going to be able to read and see the word think and thing and beg and boy and ball and move forward. So thank you so much.